Hello, this is Deborah Yao with Black Education TV. The word says that because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. The love of many shall wax cold. We are surrounded by that cold nature of mankind every single day. I was reading an article that was accompanied by a video where there was a disabled man drowning in a lake someplace. And there were teenagers around who had already adapted to that cold nature. So for them, it was a source of laughter, something to make fun of, something to laugh about. No help. No giving of assistance. Just, oh, he's dying. And they're laughing about it as this person's drowning. That is one of the cruelest examples that I can think of in recent days of the love of many waxing cold. There used to be a day and a time where if you saw someone in distress, drowning or choking or anything like that, that you went to their aid to try to give some assistance, to try to save a life. But whomever raised those children didn't instill enough values in them to where they felt like maybe we should be helping this man instead of laughing and filming. Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. It's a sad day when you can sit back and just watch a person drowning and it's no big deal to you. That is a sad day. And not only is it not a big deal to you, but you are laughing about it. No excuse whatsoever. Back in the days of our ancestors, you had children 12 years old ruling as kings. You had children 13-year-olds leading armies. Leading armies. But you have teenagers, 18, 19 years old, frolicking around throughout their day, making fun of the elderly, shooting dogs for sport, just all kinds of crazy nonsense because there have been no values instilled in this generation. This generation is just so far gone. This is why there's only going to be a remnant saved according to grace. Only a remnant saved. And the things that used to make sense no more. Because that sense is not being applied. Making sense is no longer normal. It's not that it don't make sense. It's just that in this world, things that are normal are called abnormal. And things that are abnormal are considered the norm. Meaning what's accepted widely by the masses is what is considered normal. And you are the abnormality if you decide to go against what the mainstream views as normal. The gay agenda is a good example of that. You're frowned upon if you don't agree with that. If you're not in agreement with that, you are frowned upon. If you have anything negative to say about it, you're abnormal in the sight of the masses. Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. You will have people that will be in your presence, whether in the workplace, your neighbor across the street, within your own home, your own community, your own church, people that are just around you, period, who will be around you and can care less what happens to you. Only there because of what you can do for them. No real love, no real concern, can take you or leave you. And it's really sad that some people, especially those who are alone, don't have a lot of family, that when they do encounter people, they encounter those who have that attitude of not caring. And so a lot of people feel so hopeless and helpless because they encounter people who don't care about them. What I find weird lately, too, is if you do express any amount of love and concern for people, that's become a source of a joke now. Because the demonic nature that has taken over this realm, that's taken over this world, is trying to paint and tarnish real true love as something that is abnormal. Something that should not be expressed because of this reason or that reason. I remember years ago, there was a discussion going on Facebook. And there were so many people coming out saying that you got to be careful who you love because of this, that, and the other. You got to be very careful with showing expressions of love in this day and time. You just can't do that for this reason or that reason. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that you have to be careful with your dealings with people. I do understand that. I mean, that is a lesson that we all learn each day. But what does that have to do with loving people? What does that have to do with loving people or feeling something? If you see or hear of something that has happened to someone, why is it that it's normal to have a cold heart about it? Why is it that if you express any amount of concern or even if you shed a tear, that you've got to be some weirdo? Some people will hear of the death or demise of another person, and they are not fazed one way or another. They could care less. They have developed this coldness in heart to where it's just not that serious to them. You can hear of someone's child that's sick or someone's child who has passed away or this has happened or that has happened, and you just can't draw any emotion from it. You can't feel anything. That's not normal. I'm sorry. I know this world has made cold-heartedness feel and seem normal, but it's just not normal. Of course, we have to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. We learned that lesson many times. We learned the lesson that you can't trust everyone. We learned that lesson. That's a lesson that we will continue to learn until the day we draw our last breath on this earth. But it's not an abnormal thing to love somebody. It's actually abnormal to see and witness all this coldness that we see coming from just about every direction. Because iniquity has abounded, the love of many has waxed cold. Either we can hold on and fight for the love that Yah has put in us, or we can give in to the cold nature. Which is it? In one of my last videos, I talked about bringing into captivity every thought. Do we bring in captivity this thought? The thought that wants us to turn cold in nature? And I bet I have to explain what I mean by cold in nature. I bet I have to explain that because some people will think that if you withdraw yourself a little bit and if you are a little more careful and if you decide, well, you know what, I'm going to think about this a little bit more before I do this and before I do that, they'll consider that to be cold. No, I'm not talking about a person who's decided, look, I'm going to be careful with who I deal with from now on. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a straight up cold person. And I think most of you know what I'm talking about. But sometimes people pretend not to know what you're talking about just to try to vex you or frustrate your ruach. Yes, at this point, we have got to be careful with who we deal with. We have definitely got to be careful. But that is not to say that we adopt a cold nature against others. Something is definitely going on, family. The scripture is being made manifest right before our eyes. We are seeing what has been spoken unfold and come to pass just as the word spoke. What position will you hold? Are you going to be one of those who allows your love to wax cold? Are you going to be one of those smile in your face type people, but really one of those who can't stand a person, but you're sitting in their face as if you are tolerating them or like them, but you really can't stand them? Those are not the attributes of the Most High. You have to ask yourself, the behavior that I have, the way I treat others, the way I speak about others, the way I judge others or analyze others, is it according to the Most High's standards or my own standards? The way I love others, is it according to His standards or my own? Is my love real or has it waxed cold? Let us examine ourselves, family. Shalom.